Welcome to Tech2Sustain, Conversation for a Better Tomorrow. I am joined here by an esteemed panel to discuss on the theme Growth with Purpose, Sustainability at the Core. We have seen times when sustainability was a nice-to-have concept on CSR goals, and we have migrated to the current times now where sustainability is realized as one of the key strategic growth themes for organizations. Sustainability can mean better market shares, better products for customers, better access to capital, safer operations for employees. It certainly means growth for organizations. I hereby welcome my esteemed panel for today. We'll have some introductions initially. Over to you, Mr. Eliseo Rosiles.
Good morning, afternoon, everybody. My name is Eliseo Rosiles. I'm the Vice President for Logistics and Operation Systems at Mohawk Industries.
Thank you, Eliseo. Over to you, Mr. Vicente Saiso.
I'm Vicente Saiso, Global Vice President for Sustainability at Cemex. Cemex is a global building materials company focusing on the production of cement and concrete, with a big challenge on sustainability given the type of production process that we have. And I have been working in the company for close to 30 years and last 10 years in sustainability affairs.
Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Matt Hellman.
Hi, Matt Hellman, Global Director of Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability. Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability is a first-party set of AI-powered suite of solutions that accelerates and delivers end-to-end sustainability outcomes. So I always love to call it Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability is your co-pilot to accelerate sustainability transformation.
That's a very nice way to put it, Matt. We'll start with Vicente. Vicente, cement as an industry, right, amongst all the manufacturing industry is at the center stage of sustainability. There's a lot of scrutiny on the industry as well. We do observe a lot of work that has been done in Cemex under your leadership. But as the Chief Sustainability Officer there, what are your priorities?
Well, first I would like to say that our end product, which is concrete, the product that is finally delivered at the job site of a construction project, is the most consumed material in the world, man-made, and just behind water. So it's an essential product for the growth and for the well-being of humanity. So we have a big responsibility. Our production process is heavy in the use of energy, and also the chemical reaction within our process has high emissions of CO2. So we have a double challenge. We have been working at this for several years, and lately we have decided to fast track our efforts to really push our decarbonization pathway to go faster than we were previously doing. We have been quite successful in doing that. Over the last 4 years, I have overseen a program called Future in Action within our company, in which all the members of our organization are involved in this effort. And we have been able to reduce close to 15% of CO2 emissions in this short time. It used to take 15 years at the previous speed. And we are demonstrating the day-to-day and throughout all of our operations worldwide. When you put all the organization and you give it the high priority, you can really move the needle and really move it fast. We are in the right trajectory now to fulfill our 2030 target, which is aligned with the 1.5 degree scenario. And we're working in the new technology that will be required to do the full decarbonization route and to get to carbon neutrality by 2050.
That's very nice and impressive, as well as a timeline, as well as the goals, Vicente. Thank you for this. The next question is for you, Eliseo. Beyond carbon neutral is the sustainability purpose statement from Mohawk Industries. That means that it needs to be sustainable, but at the same time, there's a lot of focus on the product being circular. What kind of IT technologies do you see that come to use in this particular space? How important it is?
Like you said, sustainability is very important for Mohawk. Mohawk Industries specializes in different construction materials, but the main products are related to flooring, carpet, tile, laminated floor, or vinyl floor, right? Just something to throw out there, right? If you think about these products, the cosmetics are very important, right? So because there's always an accent, there's always something aesthetic about the floor in your house, in your bathroom, and everything. So we're very focused on that as well. So going back to sustainability and technology, we have automated processes to select and to help the company in different manufacturing plants pick and choose about 6 billion plastic bottles to be recycled and create carpet and other flooring solutions with them, right? It's a very interesting process, right? But at the same time, if you think a little bit about it, right, if you go a little bit deeper, that's trash. So you don't want, for safety reasons, you don't want that much direct contact with of a human being with the trash, right? So there are processes driven by technology to wash that product, help with the solution selection, because not everything can be recycled, right? Funnel through different things using AI and select just the material that we need for that can be repurposed for either carpet or vinyl floors, right? On top of that, all the information in our ERP helps to keep all of our purchase, especially wood related, certified by different organizations. So we know that we are using sustainability wood solutions in our plants.
Oh, that's very nice. Matt, how is Microsoft gearing up to help the industry with their sustainability initiatives? We heard Vicente talking about decarbonization pathways. We heard Eliseo talk about the circularity-related AI technologies that they're putting to use. How is Microsoft gearing?
Yeah, look, I think at the core of what we're all collectively driving towards is how to drive rapid decarbonization efforts, circularity efforts, issues around environmental, social, and governance across our operations and value chain, while simultaneously emphasizing value-based success metrics and balancing investments that deliver sustainability performance, regulatory compliance, operational excellence, growth opportunities, and shareholder value. I call it the multiple bottom line that organizations are constantly having to take into consideration. I'd say, not only what's been relevant with Mohawk and Cemex, but true for Microsoft as well, is as we work and build towards our journey to carbon negative or to, a carbon zero world, is to break down the journey into sizable chunks that are much more easy to manage. So I call them 3 horizons. First is really thinking about compliance. The second horizon is really thinking about analysis, trends, decision-making. And then 3, third horizon really being around ESG at the center of business strategy. And so for Horizon 1, all about compliance, I mean, this is, starting to enable ESG intelligence with baselining and managing ESG data. It's, building out an ESG data lake to drive data transparency, to be able to ingest data, calculate, optimize ESG data, and then to also be able to report on it as well. Of course, with security as the foundation. That second horizon is really where we're starting to use data, AI, analytics to accelerate analysis, the ability to identify trends, correlations, and make decisions. And, of course, utilizing AI to drive action to meet ESG targets, to optimize costs, improve profit margins, like lowering energy bills, and then to start targeting and tackling some of those hotspots where emissions are starting to spike. I think Horizon 3 is, when I talk about ESG at the center of business strategy, it's driving sustainability growth, making informed decisions, building out strategies and approaches for innovation, and then also to start driving opportunities for efficiency. So this is real-time analysis on large volumes of data streaming from apps, websites, IoT devices. It's using AI to start, tackling problems before they arise. And it's also, sort of transforming products, markets, industries, discovering new opportunities for your business. And so I think with Microsoft's, technology platform, as well as our broad partner ecosystem, our goal is really to work with organizations and also to look at ourselves as customer one, to really start leveraging all of these amazing tools to drive that end-to-end sustainability transformation journey.
That's a lot, Matt. That's a lot. But new IT solutions means adding on to, say, emissions, energy requirement, extracting more minerals, resources at the end of the day. What's your strategy around managing the sustainability for IT, per se, as we kind of build these resource requirements for businesses to achieve their goals?
Yeah, look, I think obviously a lot in the news these days around emissions associated with IT and AI. And, we are very transparent about Microsoft's overall emissions. In our most recent sustainability report, we did highlight that Scope 3 continues to account for more than 96% of our total emissions, with the vast majority of those emissions coming from two categories upstream. That's purchased goods and services, category 1, and capital goods, which is category 2, as well as one downstream, which is the use of sold goods, category 11. So you talked about Xbox earlier. Every time our customers use Xbox, we account for those emissions with our overall Scope 3, category 11. I would say the rise in our Scope 3 emissions primarily comes from the construction of more data centers and the associated embodied carbon in building materials, as well as hardware components such as semiconductors, server, racks. And so I would say our challenges are in part unique to our position as a leading cloud supplier that is expanding its data centers, but really even more as we reflect on the challenges that the world must overcome to develop and use concrete, steel, fuels, microchips. Those are some of the biggest Scope 3 challenges. And so us, our true belief is that progress on Scope 3 will take deep collaboration across industries with organizations like Cemex, right? Identifying areas of emissions reductions for suppliers has really been an effort that many different business groups within Microsoft have been tackling simultaneously and aggressively over the last several years, and we'll continue to do so in the coming years as well. I'd like to highlight really sort of two big areas that we're taking. Number one, of course, using technology like Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability to accelerate sustainability transformation for our customers and our suppliers, but then also using AI to accelerate pathways for decarbonization with customers as well. Another example, Microsoft updated our supplier code of conduct this year to require that select scale high volume suppliers use 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030 for goods and services delivered to Microsoft. This requirement is going to be rolled out at the start of our fiscal year 25, which just started a couple of months ago. And we're already, starting to work with suppliers to align with that new supplier code of conduct. So I would say, our 2030 commitment, which is to be carbon negative, meaning we're taking more carbon out of the atmosphere than we're putting into it for all three scopes of emissions, is truly tied to the systems that we rely on for sustainable growth, such as greener steel, concrete, fuels, chips. And I think the interconnectedness of Scope 3 challenge will require that we double down on investing in innovation, developing markets, and advocating for policies that accelerate global sustainability.
As you rightly mentioned, it requires deep ecosystem collaboration I think it also means utilities undergoing that energy transition challenge as well, wherein you have more renewable electricity for use, and that's how it kind of cascades down to your value chain as well. Eliseo, over to you. You are at the core of an industry, right? You're working with a specific organization and you're seeing growing IT requirements as well, sustainability, and probably for other business priorities as well. IT is, at the crux of transformation, right? And bringing in that transformation for business. How are you managing these growing resources requirements from an IT perspective within Mohawk?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? So in Mohawk, we have several efforts. Look at, trying to be IT green, right? And the main effort is we're becoming a cloud-first organization, right? So anything that has to be implemented, whether it's new, upgraded, and so forth, we are going to look for a cloud solution first, right? Then when it comes to on-prem hosting, we are also doing a big effort on moving our data centers to green data centers, brand new facilities where we can be more energy efficient facilities, right? When it comes to ERP transformation, also, big ERP implementation going on in Mohawk, in the cloud base, right? And then all the way down to the shop floor management. I have to go to shop floor management because that's my area of expertise, right? We are also trying to kick off an effort where that is going to be paperless trails on the shop floors for a DC or a manufacturing plant, right? We try to enable a platform where all the users from a personal device or a tablet at the site, right, they can capture data that usually be on a card or on a notepad, and getting lost, maybe going on the floor and not being very nice looking on the floor, right? So driving several efforts, Matsy at Mohawk, to be green, from the sustainability standpoint on data centers, hosting efforts, all the way down to helping some of operations to eliminate waste from the IT perspective.
That's great. Vicente, both Matt and Eliseo alluded to supply chain issues per se in their respective areas, basically talking about scope 3 as well, upstream and the downstream side as well. So within Cemex, you have a huge supply chain network, right, globally, by virtue of your operations. What kind of challenges do you see from a sustainability perspective in your supply chain, and how do you think IT can help you?
Our scope 3 emissions are around 30% of our total emissions. A few years ago, we were focused on scope 1 and scope 2, given that that's 70% of the equation. And we were pushing very hard for that, but we cannot obviously ignore the 30% of our emissions that is in the supply chain. So we have established since 4 years ago new targets on 4 categories of our scope 3 emissions. We decided to tackle category by category in scope 3 because each type of scope 3 emission is different from the others, different set of suppliers, different set of challenges. We are focusing now on transportation, everything that we do with raw materials and final products with third parties transportation. We are starting by measuring that and starting to work together with these transportation companies to do the effort to reduce their CO2 emissions. We are also buying a lot of inputs for our production process. We buy fuels, we buy machinery, we buy even some of the products that we cannot supply in some markets. We buy it from other cement manufacturers. And for us, the big change will be on how to better measure the CO2 emissions associated to all those inputs that come into our process, and then how to engage more efficiently with all these suppliers and push them to do the same level of effort that we are doing with our own production process. I think IT can be a very good enabler of that, starting by measuring, by providing data on a daily and a monthly basis so that we can take better solutions faster, be more agile, and then consolidating all the information that we have at the global level so that we can identify the trends and push for more and better performance. No, as we move along in different categories to other categories of Scope 3, this challenge will also be helped by better information on all these different elements. No, so I think there's a lot of potential of what IT can do for us as an enabler of having good information so that we can take action and engage on a continuous basis with our supplier base, and then really bring down the emissions from our Scope 3.
Sure, Vicente. Coming closer to the theme, Vicente, another question is, do you think Cemex can grow without sustainability being at its core? And can you just justify with a few examples that come to your mind?
Yeah. Since we're an industry that is a heavy user of energy and also an emitter of CO2, we cannot grow our business without decarbonization. We are already regulated in our CO2 emissions in Europe, in all of our operations in Europe. We are also regulated in our operations in California. We are going to be regulated in our emissions in countries like Mexico, Colombia. So we are going to have a scenario in which CO2 is going to be, the cost of CO2 is going to be internalized, and it's going to be an element in our cost structure, like it is right now in Europe and in California. So for us, there is no way around that. CO2 emissions are going to be a matter of regulations everywhere. And if we don't do the decarbonization of our process fast, we are going to suffer higher costs. And that higher cost is going to make us less competitive, not only with our own industry, because other competitors as well as doing this same type of efforts. Also, when we are competing with other materials to be part of the construction sector, suppliers like steel, wood manufacturers, all of them are also working at this, and we are all competing to help a contractor or to help an architect design a building with the lowest footprint. So in that competition, we are also targeting to provide lower carbon products, and even at some point in time, net zero CO2 products, so that contractor, that developer of a building or an infrastructure can also deliver to its final customer or its final user a very low carbon, low impact building. So it's a key competitive issue in our industry, and if we don't do it right, we're going to be left out of the race, and we will not be able to. So we're already feeling that pressure in the short term, and it will become even tougher in the medium term and long term.
Buildings are anyways considered to contribute to around 40% of the total emissions globally. So that's a very noble vision, Vicente. Thanks for that. Eliseo, we heard Vicente, sustainability is getting seated right at the core of any organization's growth. How do you think it is getting integrated to IT leadership's role?
Some of the efforts that I already mentioned that Mansi are backloaded by data, right? So a big important piece for us to enable sustainability effort, especially in my area, right, which is logistics and transportations, warehouses, manufacturing plants, data, getting data points from as many vendors, as many workstation, work centers as we have. But that's what is going to help our business partners in the sustainability teams to enable opportunities, identify risk, right? And support better the efforts, right? Having the data going to help them make better decisions, right? More educated decisions on implementations. We are working with them on a global environmental and social governance platform, right? We are on track to report sustainability and business information to enhance our availability to measure, evaluate, right, how we are performing on these efforts. So I will summarize it like that, Matt, right? Helping the business to gather the data they need to enable a better sustainability practice.
Sure. Matt, you spoke of sustainability solutions from Microsoft. So when you go out in the industry, do you see reluctance still in adopting IT? What kind of challenges do you foresee there, or you were kind of experiencing in that particular space? And what can be done, in your opinion, to mitigate it?
Yeah, look, I think reluctance is certainly there. And I think in a lot of ways, it's mainly because there's a lot of ambiguity in the market, right, around regulations, what needs to be done and by when, what's required of those organizations. I think there's also a lot of noise around solutions in the market, around what is needed to meet those requirements. But at the end of the day, and I think organizations are starting to realize that, is regulations are not going away. It's going to impact every customer and organization on the planet, whether required by regulators directly or whether, our organization and organizations' customers are going to start asking them for their supplier data to help with some of the reporting and requirements required by the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive as one example. I'd say the other approach is, I think budgets sometimes are not necessarily being properly allocated to meet some of those timelines, but then also ensuring that the right V team or virtual team is pulled together to support and align the right resources across our organization. So, truly several years ago, we would often see just sustainability in the room in discussions with us, and now absolutely requires IT to be fully engaged to support and invest in the broader reference architecture for how we enable the tools to support the sustainability work. It's now also requiring that different organizations like finance, legal, accounting are also brought into the conversation as well to ensure compliance purposes are met. I would say how to remove. I think first and foremost, regulations aside, it's really important to show the immediate value and ROI of investing in sustainability beyond just reporting, right? I think people often forget that sustainability isn't just good for the environment or for society, but it's truly good for business as well, whether it's, leveraging technology to better understand your energy utilization across your built environment or within your facility or factory, and then being able to take that data, those insights, and take action to reduce it. We at Microsoft ended up implementing a full end-to-end set of building IoT systems across all of our buildings. And from that data, we get over 50 million transactions a day. And from those 50 million transactions, we've been able to start deriving and break down over 20% in energy cost savings from just implementing something like IoT. And then on top of that, we've started to utilize Copilot and AI, models to help us to drive and eke out an additional 15% in energy savings. So, I think of that as, using technology to support, a massive return on investment from an energy perspective. But as a result, it also has a major impact from a sustainability perspective as well, because the demand for energy is going down off the local grid. also in general, we're becoming much more efficient in our operations. So I would say, being able to demonstrate the ROI is really critical. And the final thing that I would say too is, in general, it's really critical to have a solid foundation, like a robust data estate for all of your environmental, social, governance data to really help set you up with a solid foundation for driving some of the sustainability transformation and energy savings and cost savings that are critical for accelerating that sustainability transformation in general. So I would say that's typically how I recommend it. And whether it's going to be required for organizations in 5 or 10 years, or whether it's required this year, my view is don't wait. Get started today. You will always be set up for more success if you have more time to prepare, to start aggregating your data in one central location, and to be able to start using that data to drive and accelerate, amazing, insights and carbonization efforts and strategies.
Very apt, Matt. I would say this year is when, in the same breath, probably, particularly if you have, businesses with mandates in Europe coming in very, very quickly. On that note, as a panel, we do agree sustainability is at the core of growth for organizations. IT is out there to help with solutions, and there's obviously a lot of effort going in between ecosystems to try to green the IT itself. Thank you for being the panel today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invitation. Bye.
Our pleasure.